Hello YouTube and welcome to Sci Prime Productions. I'm a new YouTube channel, so bear with me as I figure things out. So I'm sure you saw the title. Yes, today we're going to do a Dragon Ball inspired build. This is actually a repost of a previous video that got cut in half for some reason. YouTube gave me no warning and just chopped up my video with no explanation. I have no idea what I did wrong, but hopefully this will fix it and stay intact. Before we get started, I need to taper expectations. Dragon Ball characters are absurdly powerful, and Pathfinder characters do not get to that level. After all, according to the anime, Vegeta can blow up planets as early as the Saiyan Saga, and even a 20th level Pathfinder character isn't going to come close to that. So, I'm going to show you how to make characters that have similar abilities to Dragon Ball characters, but not at the same level of power. Also, sadly, no Super Saiyans here. Pathfinder doesn't really do transformation power-ups very well. If you want to make a Super Saiyan, your best bet is to make a monk, level them up to level 18, and get the key form feat. Maybe when the Animist class comes out, we'll be able to do something, but until then, we're going to have to stick with characters in their base form. As always, when building Pathfinder characters, we're going to go through the ABCs of character creation, starting with A for Ancestry. You can actually choose from several different ancestries depending on what kind of Dragon Ball characters you want to make. Yamcha is obviously human. You could build Chaozu as a halfling or a gnome. You could choose to make Tien a flesh warp, etc. If you want to make a Namekian such as Piccolo, Nail, or Dende, then you can use the Gorin ancestry. They are plant people who survive off of nothing but sunlight and water, just like Namekians do. For this example, I've decided to make Krillin, but to be honest, the build is versatile enough that it works with almost any ancestry. So, to build out Krillin, we are going to make him a dwarf. We could of course choose to make him a short human, but I like the idea of making him a dwarf. I'm going to use the alternate build rules so that I use the generic 2 ability score boosts instead of the dwarven ones, so I'm going to increase his dexterity and constitution here. Being a dwarf also nets him dark vision and a one-time boost of plus 10 to HP. Krillin does have to choose his sub-race heritage and his dwarven ancestry feat. I'm going to choose Forge Dwarf for his heritage. This reduces any fire damage he takes by half his level and lets him survive in hot environments. Given how often the Z-Fighters fight in deserts, that seems appropriate. I'm also going to give him the Dwarven feat Clan Lore. This gives you a bunch of options, but I'm going to choose to give him the Athletics and Crafting skill and the Labor Lore skill. This represents all that construction work and milk running training he did with Master Roshi. For background, most Dragon Ball style characters will probably take Martial Disciple, as that just means you trained a lot in your youth, and that's certainly true for Krillin. Yamcha might be a bandit, and maybe Dende could be an acolyte or refugee, but for Krillin I'm going to choose Second Chance Champion. This represents how he always did well in the world's martial arts tournament, but could never win it. That background nets him ability boosts to dexterity and constitution again, and training in the acrobatic skill as well as the cat fall skill feat. He also gains the gladiatorial lore skill, which represents all those fights he had in the World Martial Arts Tournament. So for the class, I'm going to choose Kineticist, and that is basically the heart of this build. As a Kineticist, you can generate an aura around you, shoot out energy blasts all day long, and can eventually gain the ability to fly. We'll talk about Kineticist choices in a second, but for now, just know that being a Kineticist gives you a bonus to Constitution. Remember, a Kineticist's class DC and their ability to hit with their blasts is based on their Constitution. Lastly, we get 4 free ability boosts, but we can't stack them up all in the same ability score, obviously, so we're going to give Krillin +1 to Strength, +1 to Dex, +1 to his Constitution, and +1 to Charisma. Adult Krillin is a pretty likable guy after all. Now we need to start filling in everything that the Kineticist class gets him. This starts him off with 8 plus his Constitution modifier hit points, plus the 10 he has for being a dwarf for a total of 24 HP. He's trained in light armor and simple weapons, though he probably won't use them. He's trained in perception and the nature skill, plus all those skills he gets from his background in Ancestry. He also gets 3 other skills he's trained in. We're going to pick Diplomacy, Deception, and Society, which seems like skills he'd have. He lied a lot in his youth, but he's a pretty upstanding guy the older he gets. He's an expert in fortitude and reflex save, but only trained in will saves, and he's trained in kineticist class abilities, which gives him a starting save DC of 17 and a starting to hit of +7 with his kineticist blasts. Now, for reasons I'll get to in a second, he's going to start off as a single gate air kineticist. This means that if Krillin fires off a large air impulse, he gets to move half his speed before or after the blast for free. It also lets him fire off either slashing blasts or electrical blasts. As a level 1 kineticist, he starts off with the Elemental Blast Impulse. This Elemental Blast Impulse lets you make either melee or ranged attacks. We are going to call his melee Elemental Blasts his martial arts strikes, and his range blasts his ki blasts. Now, this is jumping ahead a bit, but he's going to get the Weapon Infusion feat, which lets him make weapons out of his blasts. The important thing here is that he can choose his weapon to be knuckle dusters or a gauntlet, so he's still basically punching with his blasts. This allows him to keep the martial arts theme going. He also gets base kinesis. This basically allows him to mess around with and move about small amounts of air or electricity. He also gets 2 air impulses, which we're going to choose right now. I'm going to choose Aerial Boomerang, which is a slashing attack in a line. This can kind of represent his Kienzan or Destructo Disc if you're a dub watcher. I'm also going to choose Cushion of Air, which kind of acts like Featherfall, but you can choose whichever impulses you want. Lastly, he gets a class feat. I'm going to choose Weapon Infusion like I said before. This just increases the versatility of his Elemental Blast impulses. As for gear, sadly, it's best for Krillin if we grab some studded leather armor to round out his AC. He's proficient in it and has the strength to wear it, and it'll prevent him from being critically hit as much. If this breaks the illusion for you, just imagine that it's weighted training clothes like Goku, and that those provide some level of protection. If it really bothers you, pick up a glamored armor rune as soon as you can so that he can just look like he's wearing his gi. There are some fun Dragon Ball Z style impulses that you can pick up at later levels, such as Lightning Dash, which lets you do that Dragon Ball Z teleport thing. The one big one you want, however, is the level 8 impulse Cyclonic Ascent, which lets you fly for 10 minutes. The upside here is that there's no reason you can't keep using this over and over again. As long as you Cyclonic Ascent every so often, there's no reason you can't fly all day long, and it has no resource cost. Of course, there are other options than playing Krillin. If you want to play Dende, I would suggest branching out to the elemental plane of water, because that gives you several healing abilities. If you want to play early Dragon Ball Yamcha, use the Human Feet Unconventional Weaponry to grab the Elven Curve Blade to represent that sword he has. You might also grab the Earth Gate for Frieza to represent their ability to throw around whole mountains. The options are wide open. The only thing you really need to make this build work is a high con, preferably +4, a high dex, preferably +3, and being an air kineticist to grab Cyclonic Ascent. You treat your martial arts as the melee elemental blasts, your ki blasts as the ranged elemental blast, and that's all there is to it, really. If you like this channel and want to see it grow, please like, subscribe, and comment. That tells YouTube and me that you would like to see more of this kind of content. Until then, thanks, good luck, and happy gaming.